Hey guys, Supercurse Productions here, and today I'm really excited to be bringing you one of my biggest and probably most highly anticipated showcases on my channel, my Avengers Infinity War Custom Minifigure Showcase. Now, the figures I have here are, I have about 20 figures here. I was planning to make 23, but because of time, I wasn't able to make all 23, and I only have 20. The ones I wasn't able to make was the Hulk, Nebula, and Hawkeye, and also possibly the Hulk Buster. But at least I was able to get these 20, which were the main ones I wanted done. And I'm also, another thing I want to mention is, I'm recording this on Sunday, the 22nd, I think it is. And from saying that, now you guys are probably wondering, well, if I'm recording this on the 22nd, there's still a few days to the movie, how come I'm not able to finish? Well, there really just isn't time because of other things that I'm working on, like commissions and stuff like that I need to send out. So I just have these 20, which I'm happy I was able to make 20 over the time span of 4 months it was. Which is really crazy because most of the time when I make figures, I make maybe like 2 or 3 per month. And to make 20 in 4 months is probably a big milestone for me, I'd say. But, also, I'm gonna be seeing the movie on Thursday, the 26th at 7:30. But I do want to ask you guys to, not post any spoilers in the comments, because I will be deleting, spoiler comments if you do post them. But please don't post spoiler comments till maybe a few weeks, I'd say, in case certain people can't or haven't seen the movie yet. This showcase also is being uploaded on Friday the 27th, the day of the movie's release. But yeah guys, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the showcase video. Alright guys, so first up here we have the one who started it all, Iron Man. And now I'm going to try and go through each one of these figures as quickly as possible, because like I said, 20 figures. And I don't want this video to end up being like 2 hours, but yeah, so first off I'll give you full 360. And a few things I do want to mention before I get into all the details is that I did end up redoing this figure several times before getting the result you see here, because a lot of times it wasn't accurate, a few times I didn't like how the sculpt turned out, and so I just redid it a bunch of times, and now I think I got what is a very accurate figure based off the concept art and the Disney Paris trailer thing. I used some reference from that. I screenshotted some of the legs, pictures of the legs and parts of the back. But starting off from the top, this was just one of the original Iron Man helmets without any really printing anything. It was just gold. I filled in the eyes to give them that more sleekish look, and then I added all the detail you see there. I did not paint a hood, and then I just used a normal Tony Stark head, and I used a Superman hairpiece, because I think it works well. His neck is also painted in this dark red color to match the armor. And then I did paint the top of the armor. It's a hidden detail that you don't really see that often, but it just adds that much more to the figure. So I'll put the head back on now. Like I said, all the armor is sculpted, so the torso, front and back, the belt hip piece, the knee pads, the shoulder pads, forearm, and hands. And then all the details really self-explanatory. I did paint on all 4 sides of the legs, as you can see there. And then I also painted the sides of the torso, so it connects all the way around, because I wanted to go all out with this figure. And I did do a few things different, like sculpting the armor, because if you guys remember my Spider-Man Homecoming Iron Man, all the lines I think made it look messy. So this time I tried to do as little lines as possible, and I didn't really fill in the lines that much on the actual armor. Although, I think it does look nice with the silver lines, better than with black lines. But that's, just my opinion on the armor. But, yeah, so that's about it for this figure. And as I stall to put his helmet back on, now we can continue on with the rest of the showcase. Since there are 20 figures, I'm gonna try my hardest, to go through these quickly. I'll give you full 360 of Steve Rogers' Nomad. Now, something you're probably wondering about, which I'll mention, is the shield. How come he has the shield? I don't know if he's going to get the shield in the movie, but I just decided, since this was a torso I had used, and I glued a magnet to it, because I modified the torso and the shield so it could have a magnet, I painted this torso and decided to just keep the magnet there, and so it can hold the shield. So I don't know if he will get his shield back. I didn't make the Black Panther shields, but yeah, so really quickly, the hair was a Widow's Peak hairpiece with the Widow's Peak sanded off. The beard is sculpted onto a Star-Lord head. I used a normal Captain America torso, and I just repainted certain areas. The arms were painted, and the sleeves have like fabric there to look like they're rolled up. I painted the hands to resemble the gloves. His belt is made out of E-tape with cardboard for the pouches, and then the legs are just painted. But yeah, so that's about it for Nomad. Black Widow was another simple figure, like Cap. Most of her detail is all made out of E-tape. The hair, starting off from the top, the hair was a LEGO Friends hairpiece that I just painted in blonde. I don't know where the head is from, but I felt like this looked like Scarlett Johansson, so I just used it. To me, it looked like that, from that one, a scene in the trailers, what I just based the hair and the face off, but yeah, so her jacket is made, or her vest is made out of E-tape with a whole bunch of E-tape straps that go all the way around to the back. And a lot of people I've seen painted it in green. LEGO even made it in green, but to me it looked like dark gray, so I painted it in dark gray. The legs are painted, and her arms have E-tape on them for the shoulder pads, and her bracelet, Widow's Sting bracelets. And then her batons were just a LEGO rod piece that I just cut in half. But I guess that's about it for Black Widow. Iron Spider, it was surprisingly also not that hard. A lot of these figures, I keep saying they're not that hard. A lot of these Infinity War figures were very easy to do. Iron Spider, I just took a Spider-Man Homecoming minifigure. I took the head, and I just painted the webbing to go all the way around the head, repainted the eyes, gave them a blue glow, painted all the detail on the torso, and that does go all around all four sides, and it connects on the top. I sculpted these little bits on his arms, and his boots are all painted on all four sides. Yeah, not much else to say about Iron Spider. Next up, Black Panther. Starting from the top, the head, or the helmet, was a New 52 Batman cowl. I carved and sanded the ears to give them this shape. I filled in the eyes, I filled in the front of the mouth by sculpting it, and I painted all the detail you see there, and it does go around to the top of the helmet. His necklace is sculpted. A lot of the detail is mostly painted, and then he does have E-tape wrapped around his arms. The helmet is removable, if I can get it off. And I did paint a head for Black Panther. And let me see if I have a hairpiece here. Nope, don't look like I do, so for now, the time being, I'll just steal the hairpiece from Falcon. But yes, I did paint a head for Black Panther, and yeah, so that's about it for Black Panther. Next up is the White Wolf, and I'll give you a full 360 of him. Starting from the top, the hair is just that normal hairpiece usually used on Bucky figures. I don't know where the head is from, but I painted the beard. The torso, I painted all the details. I put like electrical tape shoulder pad pieces, painted the back. His arm, I based it off of the Winter Soldier from the Civil War sets because I couldn't find too many pictures of what his arm looked like, so I just made my own arm, just didn't paint the star, and outlined it in gold. Then he has electrical tape wrapped around his right arm for this little, this thing he has here. It's like a little, I don't know what to call it, but, it's like a little pad thing that he has there. He does have a knife holster on his leg that I made 3D. His boots have electrical tape wrapped around them, and they're painted. And then the gun is just a normal Lego rifle because I didn't really feel like making a gun or buying one, but yeah, so that's White Wolf. Alright, so here we have War Machine, and I'll give you guys a full 360 of him. Now, one thing you're probably all wondering is, where is War Machine's shoulder cannon? Well, I noticed in a lot of concept art and posters and stuff, he doesn't really seem to have it, and so because of time, I just decided not to add it, since I literally finished like 5 figures the same day from today as I'm recording this, from start to finish. And so I decided a shoulder cannon wouldn't be that important, since he doesn't really seem to have it most of the time. Now, starting from the top, I did use a normal Iron Man helmet, and like my Iron Man figure, I wanted to keep the lines to a minimum, and so I didn't outline this helmet, although I did add a few lines on the faceplate. I outlined the mouth. I did my own eyes as well, and the whole figure is basically painted in my own dark gray color for War Machine, because Lego's gray was too light, and so I painted it in my own like really dark bluish gray color. And if I remove the helmet, it doesn't have a HUD painted in either. I do have this hairpiece for him, and he is using the War Machine head that Lego printed, but it's not the exact Lego one. It is a knockoff one from a Iron Patriot figure that I had, and the armor piece is from the Batman vs Superman sets. Painted all the detail you see there. His arms were sculpted like Iron Man's. Only difference is it goes all the way around the arm to give it that squarish look that his arms have on the armor. And I did paint everything you see there. I did paint the star there, and the same thing is on the other side. The arm is the exact same way. And then I painted 004 on that arm. And then the knee pads were sculpted, and the paint does go on the inside of the legs. There's a few lines for his boots, and then this detail on the back here I saw in a TV spot, so I decided to add that. But yeah, so as I stalled to put his helmet back on, that is it for War Machine. Falcon was one of those figures that I did finish today, and I'll give you a full 360 of him. His wings actually turned out to be a lot easier and nicer than the ones I made for Vulture. But yeah, so starting from the top, the hairpiece is that fin hairpiece. The head is actually the same one I used on Black Panther. I just repainted the mouth, and I added goggles and I added like a different beard to it. Now the torso, all the details, all self-explanatory. There's not too many 3D elements except for the electrical tape wrapped around his arms, and he does have his shoulder pads sculpted. And then the wings were made from a thick card that, from like a, I think it's like some card that came in the mail. Like one of those things when they try to get you to apply for a credit card, something like that. I just took the card and I cut it, and if I remove the wings, so you can see how they were made, they were just 2 pieces that I did paint, and then they are removable from this brick here, and I glued them together to this 1x2, and that's what makes up Falcon's wings. Like I said, very simple, very easy to do. All the detail is self-explanatory. And then his guns are just 2 normal Lego guns from the Clone Wars sets, I think it was. Here we have Doctor Strange, another simple figure. I mean, you can basically tell. But, yeah, so Doctor Strange, I actually updated this figure from my old Doctor Strange that I made back in 2016 when the movie came out. Because his robes and stuff were all made out of cardboard, his cape was made out of electrical tape and stuff like that. So I decided this time I'd make it out of fabric and make a better Eye of Agamotto to go around his neck. Because everything else was like too big and didn't look that great before. But starting from the top, I just used like this normal, I guess you could say, messy hairpiece. Or the standard Lego hairpiece. It's usually the one that Lego uses on the Tony Stark figures. The head was a Jack Sparrow head with the goatee painted. And then the cape was a dark red cape. I made my own little collar piece, and I glued the cape together once I painted everything. His necklace was a piece that I just sculpted into the shape of the eye, and then I glued some string to it. So the whole thing is removable, it can't come off. I would take it off, but it's like kind of hard to get the head off, and it kind of ruins the cape, but And his robe is, like I said, made out of fabric. His belt is made out of electrical tape. And a lot of that does go all the way around to the other side. If you guys, I don't know how well you can see that. But it does go around to the other side. And he doesn't really have too much leg detail or arm detailing. I didn't really feel like my figure needed it, so I left it off. But yeah, Doctor Strange. Here we have Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and I'll give you a full 360 of her. Starting from the top, the hairpiece was just like this normal long hairpiece. I didn't modify it, paint it, or anything. The head was the same Scarlet Witch head that LEGO usually uses. And then she is using an area-like curved torso, just like Black Widow, I forgot to mention. Black Widow is also using an area-like curved torso. And I painted all the detail under her jacket. I painted everything is like, you can see, I painted the necklace. I painted the arms. The arms have electrical tape wrapped around them. Her jacket's made out of fabric, and her boots were made out of electrical tape, and I did cut the heels. Now, the hands are actually, I did paint gloves, and I sealed them. And when I sealed them, surprisingly, it held really well that if I put it on a certain way, I can get the stud on her hand without ruining or scratching any of the paint, and that works really well. But, yeah, so that's it for Scarlet Witch. Vision was finished in a few hours because he was very easy. I just modified an official LEGO torso and legs and created my own head. Now, I have got a lot of people saying they don't like the head, a few people saying they like the creativity, but, yeah, so I do realize the head is kind of huge. I think, like, this piece for the stone should have been a little bit higher, or maybe I should have just sanded the stud off the head, because what I did was I took a normal head and I just smoothed over clay around it to make the whole head smooth, and it kind of gave Vision this really long, huge head, which, when I do a spin-off showcase, I probably will fix that and make him a smaller head. But, yeah, so I painted the cape. This was actually a green cape. I painted gold and then painted the red detail. And it does have the same thing on the underside. So you can see, like I said, the torso was a Vision torso that I painted. His arms have electrical tape wrapped around it. And so do his boots. They have electrical tape wrapped around them. Those are on all four sides of the legs. Now, a few people I've also seen have made Vision pink, like the dark pink. They've kept the official LEGO head. But to me, Vision looks like he's this dark red color, so that's why I went with the dark red. And then if I move the cape, you can see I did repaint like certain things on the back. But, yeah, so that's about it for Vision. Finally, the last Avenger before we moved on to the Guardians of the Galaxy is Thor. Now, Thor was one of the earlier figures that I finished when I first started making Infinity War customs. Although Stormbreaker is a recent addition, and I actually haven't posted it anywhere, so you're seeing it for the first time here in the showcase. But I'll just get that out of the way so you guys can take a better look at the figure. The hair was like that sleepy hair. I sanded the top, painted it, and I don't know what head this was. I think this was like from one of the Prince of Persia sets. But I just painted the beard, my own beard. I painted his eye patch. He is just using a normal LEGO bright red cape. The back doesn't really have anything on it because the cape covers it, and I don't really care. He's got light flesh arms with electrical tape wrapped around them, and I did wrap like little pieces around to give it the detail that it has. Is mainly painted in gunmetal. I couldn't think of the word there. The torso is actually made of several elements. Electrical tape. I painted it, and then I also sculpted on certain areas to give it that texture that his outfit has, or like the torso area has. And then the legs, there's not much on there. I did paint, like, he has like these lines on the sides of his legs that I just painted there. I didn't really give him any boots or anything since it's black, and I didn't really feel like painting any lines or anything because I feel like it looks okay the way it is. And then Stormbreaker here was just a normal brown rod piece that I took As you can see, an axe piece, like a 1x1 with a clip, and a 1x1 with the stud, and I glued those together. I glued everything together, filled in the back of the 1x1, painted the whole thing in silver, and then after that was done, I sculpted the branches and stuff by taking pieces of clay that I rolled thin and then wrapped it around the whole thing. And so that's how I made Stormbreaker. But yeah, so that's about it for Thor, and now we can move on to the Guardians of the Galaxy. You guys have seen Star-Lord plenty of times before. I've showcased him a few times for like the main showcase for Guardians 2, and a contest I think it was. So there's not really much that I've done to him other than I did swap out the hairpiece because he was originally using a black Superman hairpiece, and I painted it in a tan color. But this time I took this tan one from the Guardians 2 sets, and I just gave it like a, I dry brushed it, gave it a wash of brown, a light brown, and it gave it this nice look, so I just felt like mentioning that. I was going to make him a closed jacket, just didn't have time to. And then his helmet, I removed the hair. His helmet is the same thing. I just gave it a wash in like brown. But yeah, like I said, not much of an update on Star-Lord except just like repainting the hair. Next here is Gamora, and I'll give you guys a full 360 of her. And starting from the top, the hairpiece is the same hairpiece used on Scarlet Witch. It just used a black one, and then I tried as best I could to blend like a dark pink mixed with a dark red onto the hair to give it that dyed look that it has. And the dark pink and the dark red I mixed together because the pink and red alone didn't really look like her hair. Once I mixed it, it matched her hair. The head is just a normal Gamora head from the Guardians 2 sets. And something else I want to mention, I'll get her sword out of the way, but her torso and arms, where you see the green painted, in the video and the light, it kind of looks like it matches Lego's plastic. It looks close enough. But when there's no light, you can tell it's two totally different colors. I couldn't really get a color that matched, but surprisingly in the light, it looks the same, so I just left it. Her jacket is made out of fabric. Her torso I painted, and I added some electrical tape detail. I don't really like to remove the hair from the jackets because it kind of messes everything up. That's why I didn't do it for Scarlet Witch. But Scarlet Witch didn't really have as much detail as Gamora did, so I'll just remove Gamora's. But if I can get the jacket off. As you can see, she's also using an airy light curved torso. And I painted the bottom white, added electrical tape detailing and stuff there. But yeah, that's Gamora's torso. And if I can get the hairpiece back on, here we go. Her legs were just standard black legs. I used this like belt piece from a minifigure. It was like one of the collectible minifigures from Ninjago. Because I had taken the legs and I had the belt piece, and I didn't feel like painting a belt, since whenever I paint belts, they don't look that good anyway. So I just used it and then made her electrical tape belt. The arms were just dark brown arms. I painted the detail on there, and I made her wrist things out of electrical tape. And now for her sword. I actually didn't realize 97 Lego Maniac used this sort of design, so credit to him for using the hilt of an Asajj Ventress sword. But yeah, so I took an Asajj Ventress sword, and I took a katana. I actually cut the handle off the katana and leaving only a little bit in there. And I chopped the top of like the katana blade to give it this point. And the bottom blade here, down here, is actually made out of the same card I made Falcon's wings out of. And then I glued it on. It actually holds pretty well. I didn't glue the blade in there in case I wanted to display her without the whole sword together. But yeah, so there is Gamora. Drax, like Star-Lord, I finished last year, just never showcased him. Drax was an official Drax figure from the Guardians 1 set, and I just repainted it. So everything on the head and torso is repainted. He just has the standard Lego knives with the blades painted. I did make him taller than a normal figure by extending his legs a bit. So if I put Star-Lord here, you can see that he is taller than Star-Lord. But, yes, I put clay on the belt piece, on the hip piece to extend him, then I wrapped electrical tape for his belt. And then he has a lot of electrical detail for his legs and on his boots. But, yeah, not much to say about Drax. Here's Rocket Raccoon, and 360 of him, like usual. Everything is mostly from the official Legos Rocket Raccoon. I just repainted the legs, made my own torso, sculpted a little pouch on his tail piece, and everything's like basically self-explanatory. He has a few electrical tape details on the torso, like the straps that go around his arms, around the back, and then like these little pieces here. But yeah, so that's it for Rocket Raccoon. Alright guys, so here's our second to last Guardian. It is Groot. Now, our Teenage Groot. I'll give you guys a full 360 of him. This was actually a lot quicker than I thought. I just coated a bunch of pieces in like legs and arms and stuff in a base color of like this tan color. And then I also sculpted on a head, regular minifigure head, like the top of Groot's head with all the branches and all the pieces and everything. I sculpted his eyebrows. I do wish the color was a bit darker. I didn't realize how light it was compared to my Baby Groot figure, if I can get it here. You can see how much darker Baby Groot is compared to Teenage Groot, but yeah, so I basically just did a whole bunch of random lines and stuff, except on the torso. At least the torso I tried to copy like some of the lines off actual Teenage Groot, but the rest of the arms and legs and stuff, I just did like random lines, and then I used a paintbrush. I dry brushed it in a light green to give it that moss look. But yeah guys, that's it for Groot. Now the final Guardian we have here is a Mantis, and like usual, 360 of her. She's using the official Mantis hairpiece. I didn't modify it or anything, as you can see. The head is from, I think, a Pirates of the Caribbean mermaid. I just erased the teardrop. And she is using an air-light curved torso with all the detail painted on. It does go around the top of the torso, if I can remove this hairpiece. All the green and stuff goes around the top of the torso. I decided to highlight certain areas with like shiny green. You can see the mermaid head. But her like waist cape thing is made out of my own fabric, and then I did paint the sides of the legs. And she does have an electrical tape belt, but that's about it for Mantis. Here we have Loki. This figure was actually made in about 2 hours, I think. Like 2 hours or less because of how easy he is, or was. Now, starting from the top, I just used the same hairpiece I used on Bucky, but painted in black. This actually was a Thor hairpiece that I painted in black. And I'll get the cube out of the way, Tesseract. But, and so he just has a normal green cape. He doesn't have any back paint because I couldn't really find anything of what his back looked like, so I just painted the front of the torso, painted his arms. Both arms are exactly the same with electrical tape wrapped around the wrist, and then I painted the detail on the legs. The head was a Legolas head, I think it was, because I felt like that looked most like Tom Hiddleston, and so that's what I decided to go with. And then the Tesseract was just a clear 1x1 cube that I painted the inside in a metallic blue. That's about it for Loki, and now we can move on to the final figure in this showcase, Thanos. Alright guys, so finally we have the figure you've all been waiting for, Thanos. I'll give you guys a full 360 of him. Now, he was made from a Hulk Big Fig, if you couldn't already tell, which I chopped off the hair, and I sculpted all the armor and everything. He has a lot of electrical tape details as well in certain areas, like the collar, his like waist cape thing, and his belt. And then the knee pads, like the gauntlet and everything, is sculpted. And the head was actually sculpted over and smoothed over. And then before I painted all the detail you see here, which is really self-explanatory. Now, I filled in the insides of the arms, and I'll remove those so you can see that better. The whole thing is filled in. I didn't leave the top open. Like, I've seen some people who've done that. They left the top open. but I filled in the whole thing on both sides of the arms. And one thing I did with my Thanos that I haven't seen a lot of other people doing is I made the Infinity Gauntlet removable as one whole piece. Because I've seen a lot of people who have made it as two pieces, one part on the arm, the other part as on the hand. And I wanted my whole thing to be removable just in case I decide to, I want to display him without the gauntlet. Now, another thing is the purple in the camera is showing up a lot brighter than it actually is here in person. It looks like, and I just knocked him over. That's not good. It looks a lot brighter on camera than it does in real life. I don't know why, but so one question you guys are probably asking yourselves is, at the beginning of the video, Thanos had all 6 Infinity Stones. Where did those go? Well, another thing that I wanted to do to make my Thanos stand out from other Thanos figures that other people have made is I wanted to make the Infinity Stones magnetic and removable, so I can display Thanos with any stone I want, like in the movie. And so I have this little clear case that I'm keeping all my stones in, and I have lost them a few times by knocking them off of him or just opening the case in general. But so first stone here I'll put on is, actually, I'll show you the stones themselves. They're just like little jewel pieces that my mom gave me because she had a bunch of them, tiny ones. And I glued tiny pieces of metal to each one on the bottom. And then I glued my tiny magnets into the hand when I sculpted onto the hand, because the gauntlet has certain like sculpted elements to it that you can see that are outlined. I outlined a lot of the detail and then the sculpted elements. I did outline the fingers as well. But I'll put the first stone. We have the Time Stone. It holds right there, as you can see. And if I move him, it doesn't come off. And then we have, next up is the Power Stone, which connects right there. The Space Stone, which goes on the other side. And I knocked him over again. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see. Next we have the Reality Stone, I think it is. I think the red one is Reality, and then the orange one I think is Soul. I can't remember really the names. I know like the green, the yellow, the blue, and the purple, but I don't really remember the other colors. But and finally, the last stone for Thanos, the Mind Stone. So he can have all 6 stones on his gauntlet, like so. But so that's pretty much it for this entire showcase and for Thanos. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and wrap up this video. Alright guys, so that about does it for my Avengers Infinity War custom minifigure showcase. Now, like I said, I'll probably be doing a spin-off showcase with Hulk, a Nebula, Hawkeye, and the Hulkbuster. I don't know when that'll be. That'll be eventually. That'll definitely be this year. And I'll probably update a few of these figures, like Vision's head, maybe. But, other figures that I plan to do, I recently started watching the Bakugan series again and collecting them again. And I'm probably going to be doing, some videos of them because I bought a few of them and probably do some reviews or something, I don't know, unboxing maybe, showing you my collection and stuff like that. And I do plan to make custom minifigures from Bakugan, like probably the main characters from Season 1, and maybe some other characters from other seasons. I also want to finally finish my Ruby figures, like Team Juniper, Oscar, Gira, Winter, what's the other one, Cinder. A bunch of Ruby figures that I want to finish. And then after that is also Ant-Man and the Flash Season 4 figure that I've been working on, because I haven't really finished that one. But yes, that's, like I said, about it for this video. Really hope you guys liked it. If you did, be sure to leave a like down below. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. And, yeah, so bye.